Our political reporter Greg Lee back now with more analysis with Brian Sobel and Professor Melinda Jackson from San Jose State.
Frank, thanks. Guys, I want to get right to it. Melinda, we talked a lot about leading up to this day, all the ground game from Bernie Sanders, his volunteers, his offices all over the country. But that may not have mattered because Joe Biden won in a lot of states where he didn't have a big presence. Today was his first public event in California. Granted, he didn't win there, but still.
Yeah, absolutely. This just testifies to the strength of having fewer candidates in the race and having Joe Biden really consolidate that support on the moderate side. So he had a great night tonight. He didn't have to spend as much time in a lot of these states where he really did better than we expected.
Brian, we talk a lot about momentum in politics. And again, we won't know how the delegates break down in California or maybe even have final results from Texas before the end of the night. But what does the momentum look like now after what we've seen?
Well, you're looking at a candidate in Joe Biden who about 2 weeks ago was considered almost without any breath at all. All of a sudden, South Carolina changes everything. It becomes a momentum thing, and all of a sudden then tonight he just does very, very well. And we continue to watch that Texas result because if he takes Texas tonight, that says something about how the momentum has shifted.
Melinda, we have said this was looking like a two-person race. And when this all started, there were more than 24 candidates. We talked about one of the most diverse fields ever. But now we're down to potentially 2 white men.
Yes, but 2 white men with very different political philosophies. So we do have a real choice before Democratic voters, and we're seeing, very different demographics supporting these groups as well, with Bernie Sanders really connecting with younger voters, really stimulating a lot of excitement and bringing out Latino voters on his side, and Joe Biden appealing to, a range of more traditional Democrats as well as African-American voters. So, it is still a contrast between these 2 candidates.
Brian, on the topic of diversity, you made an interesting prediction about who we may see as a running mate for either of these potential nominees. What say you?
I think we will see a woman nominated as the vice presidential aspirant on the Democratic side of the aisle. And if somebody's pushed me and said, who's it going to be, I would say it'd be Amy Klobuchar.
Because you think she had such an impact and really reached out to voters.
Absolutely, and she is somebody who brought a lot to the campaign, to the debates, and I think she perhaps teamed with Biden if he were to emerge would make a really solid team. I don't know who Bernie Sanders would pick, but I think he'll also pick a woman.
Bold predictions here, Brian. Melinda, thank you as always. All right, back to you guys at the desk.